2 minicamp practices in the books, 1 more to go. Hello everyone, I'm Chris McPherson, joined by the insider Dave Spadaro for your practice report. I'm going to start off with talking about speed and explosiveness. We talked about the depth at wide receiver yesterday with Marcus Wheaton's great practice, but Bryce Treggs had the standout play of the day, making a diving reception down the field off a pass from Nate Sudfeld. After practice, I talked to Treggs about the catch, and he said that he and Sudfeld have talked about that play in particular for months now, dating back to the end of last season. It's something they've seen on tape, something they feel that could work, and the biggest thing is developing that trust and that chemistry, and it's telling the quarterbacks, you can air the ball out, we're going to be able to catch it. And you go back to Mike Wallace, who was added in the offseason, Carson Wentz saying that he's faster than he even expected. So a lot more speed in this Eagles offense. But Spuds, for you, we're not going to go so much with a speedster, but a second-round pick who has been a standout throughout the course of the minicamp practices and the OTAs, and that's the first pick for the Eagles, Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, really has caught everything. Chris looks very comfortable in the offense, says that he's got a sense of what the words mean now. He knows it's not a foreign language anymore. He knows where to go, so that's a good thing. He's picked it up quickly. The Eagles expected him to do so. He was touted as a player who would come in and make an immediate impact, and it looks like he's on that path. And honestly, when you watch him play, 88, 86, he and Ertz are twins in this offense. So it is exciting to see what the Eagles potentially can do with that position.
It's funny because Ertz talked in the locker room about the potential of those 2 tight end packages, and Ertz was like, look, if it's something that develops during training camp, that's one thing. It's nice that Dallas is having a good showing now, and Dallas's routes have been much more refined, but it's still early. We need to kind of pump the brakes on any, prolific 2 tight end packages to this point. Let's go through some of the other rookies. And Avonte, Maddox, the corner, he's worked both on the outside in the slot. Had some growing pains, I would say, throughout the course of the spring, and what we've seen during the mini camp, working as Marcus Wheaton yesterday. Wheaton was getting the better of him, but overall, still very much in the mix for that nickel corner spot, I would say, for the season.
Yeah, Devontae Bosby has been the star of this offseason. I think he's come kind of from nowhere to, at this point, look like the leading candidate to play in the slot, but Maddox will be heard from when the pads go on. Tenacious, quick, matches up well with the Cole Beasleys, Tavon Austins of the world, Sterling Shepard in New York. So the Eagles feel like they've really bolstered that cornerback position, and Maddox has given them what they expected.
Now, the defensive line is very deep, but I do like what I've seen with Josh Sweat. Again, the pads are not on, but the quickness, the burst off the edge has to be tantalizing for Chris Wilson and the Eagles defensive staff.
I look at him as a project. I mean, he's the 6th defensive end here. Now, in a league where there's a dearth of defensive line pass rushers and cornerbacks, the Eagles seem to have a plethora of them. So at the very least, they're dealing from a position of strength. But certainly Sweat, there's a lot of athletic ability to work with.
Matt Pryor working in both guard and tackle throughout the OTAs in minicamp. Again, the first-team offensive line is stacked. You talk about projects, guys you want to develop down the line. Pryor is one of those players, but the versatility is very nice.
Yeah, for both he and Jordan Malata, when I talk to the Eagles personnel department, they rave about the competition along the offensive line. So we'll see when the pads go on. Malata, a long way to go to get there. Pryor, much more advanced, but still a late-round pick and very much a project. And Chris, today we saw a lot of emphasis in the run game, really for the first time for us, and it was good to see the Eagles, when you talk about that speed, a lot of quickness out of that backfield.
Indeed. So that's going to do it for our practice report. Again, 1 more minicamp session taking place on Thursday. We're going to recap it after it happens. For Dave Spadaro, I'm Chris McPherson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great Eagles day.